The new VAT rate of 17.5% has taken effect, and this followed a presidential assent giving the VAT Act 2013, Act 870, on December 30, 2013, and a subsequent gazetting the following day. Well, under the regime, the standard rate, which was 12%, moves up to 15%, while the national health insurance levy remains at 2.5%.
The minority in Parliament has accused the Speaker, Edward Joe Ajaho, of predetermining the outcome of the motion in file for an equity into the sale of Merchant Bank to Fortis Equity Fund Limited. The minority says it's ongoing ahead with its own inquiry into the deal, which has been owing to Fortis 90% of Merchant Bank.
The Speaker on Monday dismissed a motion by the minority led by its deputy leader Dominic Nitiwu, seeking parliamentary investigation into the sale. Minority leader Osechi Mensah-Bonsu accused the majority and the Speaker of Parliament Edward Joe Ajaho of bias and describing the ruling as one-sided.
A ruling will usually take into consideration the views expressed by parties in a matter. It is significant to note that the ruling from the Right Honourable Joe Ajaho represented just one side of the equation. All the arguments that we raised by myself, by the Honourable Papu Oshiankoma, were not factored into that so-called ruling. What further evidence does one need to establish that there was a well-rehearsed conspiracy to prevent the motion from being moved, whilst yet pretending to encourage leadership of both the majority and minority to find common ground, as happened last Monday?
They blamed the Speaker for using only 15 minutes to read a ruling he used an hour to write. He further accused the National Democratic Congress of having a role to play in the sale of the bank, citing the presence of the NDC party officials in Parliament during the proceedings of the emergency sitting as example. The minority said they would launch their own investigations into the matter to ensure there is value for money in the transaction.
As representatives of the people, we are doubly resolved, as enjoined by Article 41F of the National Constitution. In this regard, the MPP Minority Caucus assure all and sundry that even though the majority group have used their numbers to stifle official parliamentary investigation into this deal, we are purposed to conduct our own inquiry into this debacle.
He called on the general public to provide any material evidence in their possession in relation to the Merchant Bank deal to make them available to assist them in their quest. Chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, Kwekwaji Mamenu, who said he was saddened by the ruling of the Speaker, called on the President to intervene if he is committed to tackling corruption.
But here are we. The President stands one way, we are fighting corruption. The minority is helping the President fight corruption. Let us do investigations into this. And the majority side, who the President works with so closely, closer than the minority, are saying that we won't do it. And the President wouldn't say anything. I was thinking that in the view of what has happened here, the President will call for a presidential commission.
The minority also said they will not be intimidated by the Speaker.
Meanwhile, Majority Chief Whip Alhaji Mubarak Mohammed Muntanka says the minority should have built consensus in their attempt at getting their motion onto the floor of Parliament. Speaking on the big story, he faulted the minority for the way they handled the issue on the floor.
You build consensus properly. When things are in court, we don't talk about them in the House. There have been so many examples, so many instances, both under MPP and the previous NDC speakers, and I believe that this is the constitutional provision because they said there's no provision in the Constitution. Check Article 110. That's the basis upon which the standing order is formulated. And the standing order 93 clearly states, in the opinion of the Speaker. So if the Speaker says that, in my opinion, I think at this instance, this will have an effect on the matter before court. That you leave it at there. You may disagree with the Speaker, but to be calling the Speaker names, to be insinuating wrong motives and all manner of things to the extent of saying that you are going to conduct your own investigation, what kind of Democrats are these?
The Ghana National Association of Teachers is alleging investment of teachers' pensions contributions have not been handled properly by the National Pensions Regulatory Authority. Meanwhile, President John Mahama has hinted of a directive to initiate dialogue at the board level to properly deal with the issue.
Pensions have dominated conversations since last week when SNIT raised the minimum pension allowance to 200 Ghana cedis. SNIT also reviewed the timing for the life certificate verification from twice monthly to once in 3 years. For retired teachers, however, there are still outstanding issues.
ACTOP is eagerly looking forward to the day when, by your relentless prodding, a retiring teacher shall not have to travel long distance from Paga or Hamele or Elubo to Accra to straighten out his papers and collect his gratuity. ACTOP believes that all this should be possible at the teacher's last post, where he can collect his salary and a handshake, if any.
In a statement directed at President John Mahama during the 51st conference of the Ghana National Association of Teachers held in Accra, the acting president, Samuel Alubia, demanded the whereabouts of pension contributions made so far.
The issue of the National Pension Regulatory Authority's handling of pensions is sending bad signals to public sector workers in this country. We are still at a loss as to where the accrued benefits and contributions pay into the temporary pension fund account, which were to be transferred to trustees chosen by employees beginning from January 2013, has still not been done. What is holding the contributions up at the Bank of Ghana? When explanation is not forthcoming, the struggling workers of this country would like to know what happens to our colleagues who have given their all in the service of Mother Ghana and have just about a year to go on retirement.
President Mahama noted their demands.
I've noted the concern expressed by your president at the work of the National Pensions Regulatory Authority, and I'm going to request the board and CEO of the authority to convene a roundtable with organized labor to discuss the issue of investment of your hard-earned pension funds in order to remove any misunderstanding existing in your minds.
Meanwhile, teachers have been urged to match government investment with output. For Joy News, Gifty and Apia.
We'll turn attention to some main party politics, and the New Patriotic Party has described as mischievous and provocative attacks on ex-President John Kufuor by his predecessor, Jerry John Rawlings. It follows comments by the former president in a recent address to students in the Volta region. In a statement signed by the party chairman, Jake Opejebi-Lamte, the NPP insists the constant insult and attacks by ex-President Rawlings was unbecoming of a former military leader, later head of state, who should naturally be wearing the shoes of statesmanship. It says while the party agrees that former president is not immune to criticisms, it insists the unruly conduct by the ex-president Rawlings was completely unacceptable, and that he of all people whose 19-year track record as president was blotted by atrocities should not be one hurling insult at ex-president Kufuor. The party urged ex-president Rawlings to let Ghanaians be the judges on who ruled the country best in their terms of office.
The Institute of Continuous and Distant Education at the University of Ghana will from August this year commence a master's degree program in distance education and e-learning. It will be the first distance education master's degree awarded by the university. Director of the Institute, Professor Yao Ohiniba-Sechi, announced that this at the closing ceremony of the 65th Annual New Year School.
Access to university education, KETSI information communication technology, comes in handy for prospective tertiary students who are either unsuccessful in gaining admission to the university due to limited opportunities or constrained by other reasons. The opportunity was therefore one of the preoccupations of the 65th edition of the New Year School, especially how the prospects and challenges of ICT-driven education could be explored as a tool for sustainable development. Professor Yao Henebasechi, Director of the Institute of Continuing and Distance Education, however, added the University of Ghana is taking the initiative further with the approval of its first master's degree program in distance education and e-learning.
This master's degree program will give prospective students the theoretical knowledge and practical skills they need to lead the distance education enterprise within educational, business, government, and non-profit organizations. The program will generally seek to educate leaders and managers of distance education and e-learning. And on that note, I am very thankful to the University of Ghana for making this possible.
The 65th edition of the annual New Year School offered opportunities for a cross-section of Ghanaians to contribute to the national dialogue on the place of ICTs in modernizing the country's educational system at all levels. A participant shared her experience.
Regarding the topic, the ICT that we talk about this year, I think that now is a reawakening that everybody now should attack it aggressively, because without the knowledge of basic ICT, we are out of the system.
Let me ask you, before coming in here, did you have any knowledge of ICT?
The knowledge I have about ICT is just the normal word and answer that we do, and then the basic research. Now they've broadened it into even the system of everything, every sphere of one's life.
36 female participants and 138 male participants took part in the 65th edition of the annual New Year School held at the University of Ghana from 5th to 9th January 2014.
Major expansion works at the Tema port will cost the country some $2.5 billion. Officials say the expansion, to be financed with loans from partners, is necessary to accommodate the increasing volumes of cargo traffic and also enhance efficiency at the Tema port. Adelaide Arthur has more.
The 5-phase major expansion project will open up the Tema port with additional berthing facilities to offload specific cargoes such as vegetables and fruits, dry and liquid products, transit goods, containers, as well as oil rig repair facilities. At the moment, only 12 berths where vessels rest to offload goods are available at the port. The Marketing and Public Affairs Manager, Paul Asari Ansa, explains expansion is needed to facilitate operations at the port.
We will be doing a lot of reclamation works, we'll be doing a lot of revetment, we'll be doing a lot of dredging works, construction of breakwaters, and then deepening the access channels to about 16 meters. We are inviting companies that have the ability to construct the facilities. And then we are asking them to come with partners who have the financial strength to support the construction. So more or less they are leading us to prospective financiers.
According to him, bidding for construction works will open this month, with the contract expected to be awarded in 2014. In the meantime, minor rehabilitation is ongoing to enhance operations, including free movement of goods in and out of the port. Joy News observed optical character recognition cameras have been installed at all the gates. The automation of the gates, according to Paul Asariansa, is to boost security. The port has meanwhile taken delivery of 2 new cranes, with 2 more to arrive later. Unlike the 4 existing cranes that are partly owned by the port and other private companies, the new cranes belong to the Tema port. Behind me are the 2 new cranes currently being assembled. They've been named after 2 employees who are considered as role models, Kofi Asamoah and Andy Asari. I understand they were purchased at a cost of 9.2 million euros, and they are really going to facilitate the discharge of cargo at the port, I'm told.
These are versatile cranes that can pick both containers and general cargo. Now, one has the ability to pick about 20 containers in an hour. But then we also bought some accessories. We have twin spreaders that can pick 2 containers at a go. So instead of 20, we'll be able to pick 40 containers within an hour.
The PR manager tells Joy News the total vehicle imports for 2013 was slightly less than figures for 2012.
As at October 2013, we've been able to handle 54,200 vehicles. I'm talking about cars, mini vehicles, utility vehicles, and trailer units. Yes. Compared to last year, as at December, we were able to handle about 68,000. Okay. Yeah, so 2013, we expect that by the time we finish with the December statistics and add to it, we'll be handling about 65,000 cars, which is about 3,000 lower than what we handled in 2012.
Documents available to Joy News also indicate the total cargo traffic, including imports, exports and transits at the port, increased by 4.6% in 2013.
Authorities of the cocoa marketing company are yet to increase the wages of the loading boys at the cocoa warehouse at Aponwa near Takrady in the western region. The loading boys are demanding their increase in wages and have withdrawn their services, resulting in hundreds of bags of cocoa beans getting rotten, while over 2,000 drivers and their mates are stranded at the warehouse.
Most of the stranded drivers and their mates keep themselves busy by working on their trucks and rearranging sacks of cocoa to separate the rotten ones from the good ones. The drivers are threatening to embark on a demonstration or resort to smuggling the beans out of the country. Over 1,600 trucks loaded with cocoa beans are currently stuck outside the main warehouse, whilst the warehouses remain empty as a result of the refusal of the loading boys to offload the trucks due to poor wages and working conditions. The loading boys, according to sources, are paid 10 pesos for each sack of cocoa beans they offload from the trucks, and they are demanding an increase to 1 cedi or 50 pesos. The loading boys claim they work in an unhygienic environment, have no bathroom with poor access to potable water sources at the warehouse. Some of the drivers have spent close to 2 months at the premises, but they are yet to be attended to. Meetings held between authorities of the cocoa marketing company, the drivers and the loading boys are yet to yield any positive result. Joy News again gathered that the loading boys have resolved to start working only when authorities agree to their demands. Authorities of the cocoa marketing company have promised to resolve the confusion by Friday, January 10, 2014. A driver, Leo Dixon Usuansa, sat in the meeting with authorities.
Umuhia ansa no maswa kuku no ntiema empanifo no nam se nyama bibiri won ma no munti krada ntie yo mo wawa ntie mo ye de be se se bufo na abanchiti se mo brebre mo dwudwu nkofo na koma e mo ba fom ntie mo ni careers fo no empanifo ni bi e kasai enom kan sa na tie dia mo dia ko don TUC fo ntie TUC fo no meji o mo jiremu no mo ne person careers na akasa.
Another driver who has been stranded for almost 2 months confirmed that some of his cocoa beans are getting rotten. The loading boys have resolved not to work until their working conditions are improved and their wages increased to 1 cedi or 50 pesos. William Benjamin Peters report from the Western region.
The National Democratic Congress expects to complete biometric registration of all members by the first quarter of 2014. The General Secretary of the party, Johnson Esiedun Ketia, indicated the exercise is to deepen internal democracy.
According to the General Secretary Johnson Esiedun Ketia, internal elections have been delayed due to last year's election petition. This made it difficult for all 26,000 branches to hold elections. He tells Joy News several petitions alleging one malpractice or the other have been received from branches where elections took place. He explains, since those elected at the lower levels become delegates who elect higher executive members, it has become necessary to have a stronger foundation at the branch level.
If we are not careful, people get elected not because of what they can do for the party, but because of their likelihood to vote one way or the other in subsequent elections. So we have come to a point where we think that first of all, the branch elections that constitutes the foundation of the party. If we get them right, then anything built on it would have a chance of being right.
The party believes biometric registration of all members will help identify members and deepen internal democracy.
We can only do it when we have a credible means of identifying our party members. And that is why we have decided to go into biometric registration of all our party members, so that we know where they all exist, at which polling stations and so on, and the number of party people in each of the polling stations. When we get that number, then we can go and conduct branch elections involving all the members of the party at those branches.
The party says it is considering substituting electoral college system of voting with universal voting in parliamentary and presidential primaries. But this move will only be effective after the constitution has been amended.
We think that we should abolish the electoral college system when it comes to the primaries for the selection of candidates for parliament and candidates for the presidency. So we have taken another firm decision to make sure that once we have the biometric register in place, it should be possible for every card-bearing member of the party of good standing to cast their vote in the polling stations where they normally vote regularly.
The scientific system, he says, will help in the collection of dues and also prevent new and ambitious members from buying their way through the electoral college to the detriment of long-serving members.
The year 2013 recorded a number of fire outbreaks in the country. Safety experts blame these fires on illegal electric wiring and poor safety measures adopted by traders. Joy News visited Makola number 2 to find how well traders have been educated on fire safety awareness.
Some traders were still operating from wooden structures after fire gutted their properties in 2013. Many of the traders told me as part of safety measures adopted by management of the market, electricity supply has been disconnected to the stalls. The fire service has also schooled them on fire safety.
Marketing mobia no aduane obenu aduane a onu aduane obenu afifie na ade aba beton so be soja na wano ade no de o musem obia no soja
PT efa ye gadget nyama ye yusu ye mfie very very careful block bia ni na say ye fix heater although be secure say heater no kura ye nja yusu
amka che ni say you insure your shops in case of another thing again, if your insurance for the boy.
The managing director of the Makola Markets Limited spoke on some measures at the market.
The major ones being fire extinguishers. We've always had fire extinguishers which are kept by the security officers who are always within the market because we have 24-hour security. And that is used as a first step towards fighting fire. Beyond that, following the recent fire outbreak, we've now arranged with the Ghana National Fire Service, and every evening we have 2 fire personnel on duty with night security And they are basically to identify any source of or potential source of fire so that it is nipped in the bud.
She added, management is looking forward to building a market complex to relocate the traders. Meanwhile, other traders have expressed worry at poor patronage due to their relocation. Management of the market responded to their concerns.
That wall has been inspected by technical people and engineers. AMA is aware that it is weak and it's dangerous to life and property. And so we have been given a permit by AMA to demolish the weak walls. And so in the meantime, we have prepared the ground for them, and to protect them and others in the vicinity, we decided to hold off the weak wall pending its demolition and reconstruction.
Matilda Pemagan for Joy News.
Well, so that's it for the news, and so we have to give you a recap of our top stories. Minority in Parliament accuses Speaker of bias and promises to conduct an independent investigation into the sale of Merchant Bank to Fortis Equity Fund.
Expansion works on the Tema port to cost the nation some $2.5 billion and urgently need to be accommodated the increasing volumes of cargo traffic at the port.
Well, for the first time, the University of Ghana is expected to introduce its first master's degree programs to be awarded through distance learning.
Great news. I like it.
Real great news, especially coming from the academia. But in the meantime, though, those are the top stories we can give you for the moment. Next, we have to give you a rundown of what the top stories are in sports.
To stay on, be right back.
Well, so sports on the AM show is brought to you by Tigo. Smile, you've got Tigo. Well, so in the meantime, we just have to update you. Yaya Toure has been crowned African Footballer of the Year for the third time running, and ceremony took place in Lagos.
CAF Awards was a spectacle of color and movement, with dances and acrobatic displays entertaining those in attendance. Continental musical superstars like Nigerian D'banj and South African Lira performed for the global audience. After a welcome message from CAF President Issa Hayatu, a moving tribute was paid to former South African statesman Nelson Mandela. On to the awards themselves, and first up was the National Team of the Year award, and that went to CAF Africa Cup of Nations champions, Nigeria. The Nigeria Under-17 team took the award for the Best Youth International Team of the Year after winning the 2013 Under-17 World Cup crown. In the Club of the Year category, Orlando Pirates were up against Egyptian giants Al Ahly, who recently beat them in the African Champions League final, and Tunisian club CS Sfaxien, the Confederation Cup champions. In the end, Al Ahly took the award. The winner of the Coach of the Year award was Nigeria coach Stephen Keshi, after guiding his nation to the Africa Cup of Nations crown. The final award was the one everyone had been waiting for. In the running were Chelsea's John Obi Mikel, who'd never won the Continental Award before. He was pitted against former winners of the prestigious award, former teammate Didier Drogba, and current holder of the award, another Ivorian, Yaya Toure.
The winner is Yaya Toure.
Toure won his third CAF Footballer of the Year award in a row, a superb achievement for the Ivorian.
I'm sure he's already jetted to Manchester to play in this weekend's matches, so we'll see how it goes for him as well. In the meantime, though, the president of the Ghana Football Association, Kwesi Nyantechi, has been speaking on the chances of the local Black Stars team as they take place in the Chan tournament in South Africa.
I look forward to a good performance this time around. We are candidates to the championship, winning the championship, and I'm very hopeful that we'll win. We've had a good team, best players from our domestic league who have been in camp for some time now. Maxwell Kunedu has done a good job transforming the team through the WAFU competition up to this time, and we are very hopeful. We are praying for the team to excel at this competition. Talking to Maxwell, the coach, and he's assured me that things are shaping up. So we pray that things really shape up.
Well, it's not often that you get on the sports media platforms the fixtures for CHAN, and so we're bringing you the fixtures for the CHAN tournament, and we have South Africa taking on in the opening fixture against Mozambique, and Mali will play Nigeria, and Zimbabwe, Morocco, and Uganda, Burkina Faso. So those are the early fixtures, and the other fixtures also will include Ghana and the other participating countries. And this weekend, there will be some matches in the English Premier League. So we bring you some preview as well as the fixtures. The fixtures, and Hull City will be hosting Chelsea, Cardiff City, West Ham United, Everton will host